Hi everyone. I've spoken about my contact experiences with the ETs on YouTube, and I thought it was about time that we spoke about Helene's experiences, because hers are particularly focused on her two children, and we thought it might be helpful for all those mums out there with star children who are perhaps going through similar types of contact. So, you had two children going through contact experiences, Helene, so how did it all start?
Okay, yes, well it started when my son Ben was 7 years old, and this was in the year 2000, and he started having what I call night terrors, where he'd just wake up screaming and yelling and be at the top of his bed, with his heart pounding, and I just couldn't wake him up at all. I tried everything. I tried saying the Lord's Prayer, turning on the light, but he just wouldn't stop, and this would go on for about 15 minutes. And this went on for a fair while. It happened 2 or 3 nights a week. And then I rang Judy, or got in touch with a friend who put me in touch with Judy, and she explained to me about the whole ET scenario, which was all very, I felt like at least I got an answer, but now how do I deal with all this? So as per usual, it's one step at a time, and through gathering knowledge and Jude's help, I got through it all. But with Ben, originally with him being just so terrified, it was just really, really hard for Mum to sort of even understand exactly what was going on. And then Jude lent me her manuscript to start reading about energy and about the ETs and everything. And it was during this time, there was one night where he was in one of his trances, and I was sitting he was on that part of his bed and on this side facing each other, and he all of a sudden placed my hands out like this, and he put his hands on mine like he was connecting into my energy. And then all of a sudden he ended up putting his hands in front of my stomach and going like this, like he was doing a healing. And as you've explained to me, Jude, it's like a Qigong style.
That's right, and what Ben didn't know at the time, because he was only 7 years old, he didn't realise his mum had been suffering from fairly serious gynecological problems for a number of years, with very bad pains each month.
Yeah.
And after Ben intervened with a little bit of healing, obviously being guided by his ET teachers, Helene waited with bated breath for the next
dreaded months to come around.
And all pain disappeared and hasn't come back since.
Yeah, just then I knew there was something going on.
I think that also gave you a bit of confidence, because up until that point you'd been scared, not quite sure whether it was good or bad or what.
Yeah.
I mean, I had had contact since childhood, so I tried to reassure you.
Because I felt like he was possessed, just about.
Yeah.
So I mean, someone possessed doesn't heal you. So that was convincing. Really, do they?
That's right.
You know,
I mean, you felt the energy too, which is important when this contact takes place. It's important for you to try and tune into the energy rather than looking at what the person or the being looks like.
Yeah.
Because you can have some quite weird looking beings and they are actually quite evolved. So tuning into the energy is important.
Yeah, and then the next thing that happened not long after that really convinced me was he woke up again in this terror state, and then all of a sudden he turned to me and said, I said, "Mate, are you okay? What are you doing?" And he said, I'm in school and they're teaching me English and maths." And then he said the letters QSMPE, and then he repeated them. So I raced outside and wrote them down, because I thought that must be important. Judy must know what it means. And then he just rolled over, went back to sleep. So then the next morning I rang Jude and said, "Do you know what these letters mean?" And she said, "I have no idea." And but then as I started to read the manuscript that Jude was doing at the time, I realised, don't ask me how, but they were all the main characters in her book that was their first initial. So then I really knew there was something going on, because that was such confirmation for me to really look into this field a lot more then, you know, to help my children at that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, Ben has been sort of your pathfinder all the way along, hasn't he?
Oh, most definitely.
Because
Yes.
the contact started when you learnt Reiki to help Ben with his asthma.
Yes.
So it was that initiated your Reiki, which
Yeah.
in turn the family wanted to learn Reiki, which started much stronger ET contact.
Yeah.
And all the way through, Ben's always been our pathfinder, our initiator.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
As we do a few of these, you know, YouTube sessions, we will also talk about my daughter Kira as well, and their experiences are so different from each other. But I wanted to start with Ben first because it started with him.
That's
So,
right, that's right.
So thank you, and we'll
See you again.
yes, thank you. Bye.